Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on the Slanted Lens, I'm hanging out here at the SKB factory, just kind of gliding around. I'm looking for good B-roll to add to the doc style shoot we did of the two owners here at SKB. So what we're going to do is talk about what B-roll is, how to get it and how to light it, and just some creative ways to capture it. So let's get started, see what we can do. We're going to use a run and gun Litra light today. It's called the LitraStudio. That LitraStudio is going to give us the option of getting light in quick, easy places. It's an RGB light, which allows us to create color in some areas, but to light our B-roll. That's one of the most important things you can do, is to light your B-roll. B-roll is just that. We cut B-roll into the shot to do several different things. Number one, if there's a mistake in the conversation, if the two of them are talking and they kind of flub up and they want to start over again, we can always cut to a B-roll shot, and then we pick up on the next take of that same interview point. We may want to use the interview from the very beginning, and then cut to a part in the middle, and then cut to a part at the end. B-roll gives us the transition points to be able to cut to those different places in the interview. But most importantly, B-roll just makes our interview more interesting, more enjoyable to watch. Rather than just telling us the story, we get to see the story. So when the guys say the very first case we ever got was made for a saxophone, I'm going, so do you still have that saxophone case? Do you have one?
Yeah, it's in his office. We actually do.
And of course they did. We shot a B-roll shot of that case to be able to cut into the video. That gives us a visual reference to be able to illustrate the things that they talk about. That's what B-roll is. B-roll is the interesting things that we cut into a piece to make it visually rich, enjoyable to watch, and to also tell our story a little bit. There's a lot of things you can do with emotional driven B-roll, but in our doc style case today, it's really about the B-roll that's going to help tell the story about the two founders of SKB. One of the secrets to B-roll is just simply ask, can I put my camera inside that case? Can I put my camera up on top of that pile of cases over there? Can I get over this corner? If you don't ask, the answer is always no. It's one of my favorite sayings. The answer is always no until you ask. And it might be yes if you ask, so always ask. Don't put the light up front. It's so tempting to just put this at the camera and light your subject. I mean, this is fine, but it's not very interesting. But when I get it back here, it's a great rim light. Looks so much more interesting on your subject matter. It will rim my hands, and they fall into shadow towards the camera. It'll rim your subject matter, and their face falls a little more into shadow towards the camera. It's just a much more interesting way to light. So get this light back from behind, up high, let it rim your subject matter, and it's going to look a lot more interesting. So don't light from the front, get that light back. I think it's really advantageous when you're shooting this kind of stuff to stick a small light in the machine. I've got the LitraPro in there, or you can use this little LitraTorch. They're just really easy to get these lights into the machine to give you a little lighting, makes it a little more interesting. Do that all the time. So small light in the machine. Use interesting angles. My formula is wide, tight, and interesting. I want to get a wide shot to establish it. I want to get a tight shot so I can just really see what's going on. Then I want to get an interesting shot that just gives me a creative outlet. Now, when you use those three, the editor can cut between those three, and it flows extremely easily. Put your camera inside things. I'm going to have him open this up and just reveal what's inside there. In fact, I'm going to throw my light in here really fast so that I've got just a little bit of light coming inside this as he opens up the case and looks inside. If the B-roll's all looking the same to you, then lay on the floor, stand on a table, get on a chair, ride on a chair as you go by. Use a small slider to be able to give you a motion as it looks around your subject matter. Just a small slider will start to change the perspective. Rack your focus. Get that focus so it's like really is out of focus and it pulls into the logo of the product that you're shooting. Use a really shallow depth of field. Put a 200mm lens on at 2.8, and now your background will fall way out of focus and it just looks beautiful. There's so many different ways to get interesting B-roll. Just make yourself not shoot things at eye level. That's the worst place to be. I handhold things all the time. I'm fine hand-holding the camera and let it be a little fluid. That's okay. It allows me to get quicker shots, but I always go for that wide, tight, and then interesting. There you go. So get out there and shoot some B-roll. So I love the RGB capability of this light. RGB as well as CCT gives you all those options. If you don't have an RGB light, bring some gels, something to give you a little warmth in the background, like a CTO or a little CTB, a little bit of coolness in the background. So for our shoot today, we've been using all Litra products. We use the studio light. This is a LitraStudio. This is a super compact, rugged, waterproof, not water resistant, not I can spit on it. But this is a waterproof light. So I can put a softbox on it. It's an RGB light, RGBWW light, so we can get clean white light as well as RGB. I can then put a grid, and on top of that grid I can even put a set of barn doors. One of the things I like about it a lot is that it has a handle. Handle goes into the 1/4-20 on the bottom of it now. This is great because I can have an assistant carry this around. I can put it in the background. It just makes it easy to run and to go fast with this light. Really, for me, the ease of use with this light is the app. The app is so simple to control this light with. If I go to the CCT mode here, I can go to blackout mode. It just turns it off automatically, so I can just quickly save my battery that way. Or I can go here, light on, and I can change my color balance. Go all the way over to 2000, back over to 5600, where we're shooting most of the stuff at today. Actually, a lot of times we're about in that 4300 range. I got an offset green here. Be able to make that adjustment as well. I can come back here to histogram. I can just completely set this to whatever color I want it to be at on the histogram. Gives me that really ease of use. RGB is really simple. I can just bring everybody over here and I get red. A little bit of red. Green. Or I can mix the lights. So it has all these options. You got your effects, just hit an effect. Like if I want to do something here for police, dance club, let's do a dance club. There we go. I can decide how fast I want it to go. I can slow it down. I can decide the intensity. Really, the app is what makes this just so absolutely easy to use. Another really interesting thing about this light is it has a flash setting. You can use it as a flash. It's got a sync cable to go to your camera so you can flash and sync. Just a really interesting kind of use. And I'm going to test that and practice and play with that a little more in the future. So there you have it, B-roll, the wide, tight, and interesting images, video that you cut into your main narrative or your doc-style narrative to make it more interesting, more engaging, and really get your viewer involved in the story. Tell it with pictures, not with words. It's always going to be more effective. So get out there and shoot some B-roll, and keep those cameras rolling, and keep on clicking.